Going. So I got my Alpha joggers on. Super excited, love them. Super comfortable. I have an array of Alpha shirts, right? The whole point of this right now is I'm excited about the fact that I never again have to touch my actual real clothes in my dresser. I can just forever, they gave me enough combinations. I have enough Alpha clothing where I forever have combinations of clothing to wear every single day. And then, if I so chose, I could even color coordinate with my hat of choice. Yeah, look, see? And now, personally, I would want to punch myself if I saw myself like this, but I'm just saying, like, I have that ability and suddenly become a boxer. Right? I mean, that's pretty cool. So, moral of this story is, Ariana will forever see me in Alpha clothing, whether we're on a nice fancy date, hanging out, going to the mall. If I'm in the gym, out of the gym, always Alpha. I may need to put a different shirt on once in a while, but so we're officially out of the Arctic Blue Ras flavor, which I've been using, which is kind of cool because it means I get to finally bust open the Cherry Limeade Rush, which I have not yet tried. I think I had a sample of it at an expo, and if it is the right flavor I'm thinking of, it's amazing, but regardless, the name sounds awesome. It smells like candy. We'll do a scoop and a half. 175 milligrams of caffeine, and it actually has your serving of creatine in it too, so you don't have to buy creatine separately anymore, which is just one less thing I have to mix. I still take the isotest with it. It also makes it taste kind of good in my opinion. That's the Cool Grape Rush. Isotory.com, the link's in the info box, and I have a discount code you can use to get all of this stuff for a discount if you are interested at all. So this is more or less a video journal entry. Today is April 30th, 2015. It is the Thursday before we fly out to Florida for the Orlando Expo. And this is my third squat workout after coming back from my little knee setback, if you guys remember that. So my last workout went amazingly. We did pause squats, and I worked up to a PR of 455 pounds paused. It moved fast and powerfully, and it felt amazing. It was a great workout. Today, however, was not as great. I'm still working on bettering my ankle mobility and adjusting the technique. Right now, as I said in the last video, I have to keep my feet straight forward and use a wide stance. And that doesn't allow me to open my knees up optimally. When you're in a wide stance like this and my feet are forward, it makes my knees want to kind of buckle in forward because of the angle they're pointed at. So once I can continue to better my ankle mobility and this knee pain goes all the way away, I'll be able to open my feet up just a little bit, slightly more of a duck stance. And then I can bring my stance in just a little bit closer. Not a close stance, but just closer. And this will allow me to open my knees up more, and that'll allow me to then sit my hips in underneath the barbell more. But what I experienced today was very, very frustrating. I basically don't have the ability to break at the knees and bring my knees forward right now because of the injury and the lack of mobility, which is all a problem that I'm working on. I'm doing a lot of mobility work right now for my ankles to better that. But what happens when you can't bring your knees forward, and especially when you can't open them up all the way, is your butt can't come forward and get underneath your upper body. So it's forced to sit way back, and the squat turns into a good morning. And when the squat's a good morning, that makes your sticking point a lot harder, because then it's up to you to basically good morning the weight up past that sticking point, instead of being able to just drive your hips underneath your body and push with your glutes. So that's what I was experiencing today. I'm going to keep you guys updated. Simon suggested we may have to do the push-pull of this competition coming up, but I don't want to do that if possible. So I'm going to keep you guys updated on how everything progresses. I'm going to work on my ankle mobility and hopefully get my squat stance back to normal so I can get my hips under the bar and do this weight a lot easier. So this is 418 pounds, moving like it was 440. I'll check in with you guys in the next couple of days. So I understand that some of the terminology I'm using when I'm describing breaking at the knees and bringing the knees forward and getting the hips under you can be a little confusing or a little unclear. And as far as my technique goes, everybody has different technique styles. Some people work perfectly with feet straight. Some people work perfectly with feet out. Some people prefer a better close stance, wide stance. It's different for everybody, and a lot of it depends on build. So I figure while I'm stretching right now, I'll show you what I mean, what's wrong with my stance, and where I want my stance to go and what exactly needs to be done to get there. So first and foremost, when I say breaking at the knees, bringing the knees forward, okay? Breaking the knees, bringing the knees forward means literally just bending at the knees. You're bringing the knees forward as you squat down. If you don't have good ankle mobility, that's going to be hard to do. Now, some people have bad hip mobility, so when they squat down, you see the back start to round. And that's not the issue for me. You can really determine if it's your ankles or not by trying to do, what is it called? The ninja kick. Basically, you try the ninja squat, when you try to basically squat yourself up with one foot straight out, but keeping your heel flat in the ground. I absolutely cannot do it. And if you can't do it, that's ankle mobility right there. And my ankle mobility got worse when I destroyed my left ankle. So that's what we've been dealing with here. Basically that inability to bring the knees forward. Now it is true when you do a wide stance squat, a lot of you said this in the comments, that you really don't need a lot of forward knee travel in a wide stance. Now that's very true. The wider the stance, the less forward knee travel there is. But there is still some forward knee travel to stop it from being a complete good morning. And you may not realize this until you can't do forward knee travel and then you notice it. So I spent a lot of time watching a lot of wide stance squatters and even a lot of forward leaning squatters like Lane Norton, and all of them, no matter how wide the stance, have some degree of forward knee travel. It's not much, but it's some degree of forward knee travel, which simply allows the hips to be more centered underneath the bar. So what I mean by hips being centered under the bar is when I go to squat, see like this, my hips are not underneath the bar, okay? Pretend my traps are where the bar is. They're right in line with about the center of your foot. My hips are way back here, they're behind it. So now all the pressure's going onto my back, so I have to basically deadlift it, good morning the bar up from here. When you can bring your knees forward, ignore my feet for a minute, okay? When you can bring your knees forward like this, look at my hips now. My hips are directly underneath my shoulders in the bar, so when I go to squat up, boom, I can drive with my glutes, I can drive with my legs. It's taking a lot of it off of my back, which is not only safer for my lower back, but it's more optimal for driving the power up through the squat. If you're like this, bending over, that's not gonna be your strongest point for you. If you hit a grinder with heavy weight like this, you're gonna basically fold over and collapse. So that's why those reps are moving super slow, even though it was only like 420 pounds, because I can't get my hips under it. So what I mean about being able to get my feet open a little bit and bring my stance a little bit closer to help this is this. Right now, so it is true, when your stance is close together, right? Stances like this, your knees are gonna come forward a lot more than a wide stance, okay? When your stance is wider, your knees don't have to come forward because they're going outward more. So your body can still sink into the center of you because your knees are going out. But you can still see there's some forward knee travel there. I can't do that in a real squat. My biggest issue right now is to avoid my knee pain, I have to keep my feet totally straight. And I have to stay in a wide stance squat. I have to. This is the only way I can squat right now. The issue with this is look at my knees. Cranking my feet inward makes my knees go inward like that too. So as much as I try to drive them out, I just cannot get that external rotation optimally here. They want to stay coming inward. One way to fix this, bring your stance in closer. Even with straight feet, if my stance is closer, I can at least drive my knees outward now, so you can see that my shins are going outward. They're not coming in anymore. That's at least some external rotation there. And then as far as the other issue that comes with that, so with my stance slightly in, like I just showed you, the other issue is that my hips are still out here though. So what would help fix that is slightly opening up my feet just a little bit. And that would allow me to fully externally rotate, open up my hips, get the knees way out there, and sink right in. And if you look at the difference, feet straight, and suddenly feet opened up. Huge difference. Note, watch how my feet pivot and rotate outward as I lower myself down. That right there is a sign of poor ankle mobility.
The same thing goes for your wrists. If you do a push-up position with your hands facing straight forward and you feel the need to twist them outward as you lower yourself, that's a sign of poor wrist mobility. Ankles work similarly. If I had good ankle mobility, I would be able to keep my feet more straight like they were when I first began descending, and I would still be able to get into the same position. The fact that they twist outward like that is not good, and that is a perfect example of bad ankle mobility and what I need to continue working on. I just wanted to point that detail out right there. That's what bad ankle mobility looks like and causes.
And then if I can optimally mobilize my ankles on top of that, I can bend all the way, bring the knees forward, and boom, look at that. Look how much more upright my body is. Look how much more my hips are underneath the bar now. So when I hit a grinder, ooh, I can push my glutes through instead of just trying to crane it with my lower back. So that is what I'm referring to when I'm talking about all of this and what my current issue is. So again, really quick, just to recap, where my stance is right now, doesn't allow my knees to open up all the way, makes me sit back. On top of that, no ankle mobility, I have to push my butt backwards. This is as far as my ankles can come forward, and that's with no weight on me. With weight, they're probably more like that. Really not good. So, if I can just bring them in a little bit, just slightly, twist my feet just open enough, I can open up my knees a lot more and really get my hips under it. And that's without ankle mobility still. Then, if I get my ankle mobility better, I can break. See, I can't even show you guys as an example, but pretend my heels are still on the ground. My knees will look more like this. My body's more upright all of a sudden. So I hope that made sense. Like I said, guys, I'm going to keep you guys updated and continue to journal how my progress goes in these squats. We're going to make this happen. We're going to make it happen, all right? It's that old acronym I say with my friends. You got to stay motivated. Got to appreciate the grind, appreciate the hustle, and appreciate the process. You have to dedicate yourself 100% to the grind in the process. Commit to what you're aiming for. And then eventually, you will elevate into where you want to be. Made. M-A-D-E. Made. Then you will have made it. So we're gonna get the squat made, and I'll keep updating you guys as I go.